Hello and welcome to SeahawkTalk on Thursday, April 30th, the last day of the month. We've got football, women's volleyball, equestrian, and sailing on tap for today. Let us go to our graphic to show it on screen and show that we have Kevin Gilmartin, head coach for Salve Regina football, and we have Sean Conrad, who works with our women's volleyball team, Chelsea Francis, head coach for equestrian, and John Ingalls, head coach for Salve Regina Sailing. I'm Ed Habashar and excited to bring these guests to you today. But first, let's go to this clip. And with that NFL draft music, we bring in our football head coach, Kevin Gilmartin. Coach Gilmartin, how are you?
All right, very good, Pete. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
It's good to have you. We've missed you the last several weeks, but we've enjoyed having on Joey Moriello, Pete Noonan. Last week we had the two Matts, Messner and Sylvia, and now we get back to the head coach from his home on Aquidneck Island, Portsmouth, Rhode Island. Coach, we just showed a clip of your team on the field, and then we got interrupted with the draft time music. How was that experience for you last Thursday night through Saturday afternoon?
Usually in the draft, because usually it's a very busy time for us with the spring bowl and closing out the school year and everything. It's usually a very hectic time. Usually I'm watching the NFL draft basically while I'm doing 8 other things and just pulling it up on the internet. Exactly, who drafted, stay involved with it. But there was more free, so I was able to free open my evenings to make sure I was able to watch. It was great. Some cool things was that how it was. Usually you see like it come out. Them at their own houses and with their family. I really appreciated that. I thought that was a great thing.
Yeah. A lot of live look-ins throughout the event on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Seeing the coaches and the GMs, at their different thing. Definitely, he froze a packet of Ray accents the tight. And at the same time, in their different, was definitely different than we normally get from the.
We've got intermittent audio and video issues going on, but you're in your war room back at home too. I see some markings on the wall behind you. Can you talk about how you are making the most? Well, perhaps. Can you talk about how you're making the most of the spring ball and your practice settings and being online with your student athletes?
And, when we have meetings, we have something to work with, and so on Zoom is great because Zoom and WebEx, you could, show the PowerPoint slides and you point to and everything. But sometimes guys have questions, that they're asking about, so we just turn around. Technology, phenomenal. Being able to, you just got to go right from school to the board.
Now, I can't pretend that I know what that means behind you. Are you giving away any secrets with what's written on your board back there?
Nah, there's really nothing on that. Even if I throw up a play, we play against kind of doing what we do.
Kevin, I know before the shutdown occurred back in March, just prior to that, you had invited a bunch of coaches from various schools to have sessions, both offense and defense, in the classrooms at Rogers Recreation Center. Talk about how that evolved and how well it went for you guys. We are lacking audio on this side from Coach Gil Martin, and the video is breaking in and out. I see you there. Can you see me? Thumbs up. Hang in there, folks. We're trying to get a better connection with Coach Gil Martin. I see him in my screen, and then he's disappearing, and the audio has not been good quality, so we apologize for that. We'll follow this clip and head into a short break. Want you to stick around with us. Hopefully we can reconnect with Kevin Gil Martin.
Hear me?
And we are back with Kevin Gil Martin. It looks like we've got a much better connection. We haven't done anything audio-wise, but Kevin, you're looking much better in this view. This is FaceTime, so good to have you back. Where did we leave off?
I have no idea. I think I saw from, I can't remember, but hopefully I remember anything. Last I was talking about the draft and how I thought it was pretty cool how the head coach and the GMs, their houses and everything, and you had involved, and Rabel's high school kids were in the background dressed as Frozone, and
yeah,
so it made it for a little bit interesting, a little more fun, and I'm all about that, having fun with the draft.
We had that for entertainment, and then the last 2 weekends, Sunday nights, we've had The Last Dance for entertainment, and you were talking how you have a connection with the producer of that series, that documentary?
The director, yeah, he Williams College a couple of years after I was there, and he's done a couple different things. He did the 30 for 30 with Bears, the Andre the Giant one, and so he's done some really, really excellent ones, and so he put it that it was going to be an exciting, Last Dance is going to be awesome. I mean, MJ is one of the most exciting players that my life. I mean, I was a Knicks fan, and the Knicks got knocked out by it, with Starks and Patrick Ewing going at.
Yeah.
I mean, he's never make it into the last. Everything got to it has just been awesome. I mean, trying, and it's unbelievable, crazy story. Everything they do about probably about 100 more episodes, but everything that personalities can carry on that team.
So your connections at Williams College includes the director of The Last Dance, so that's the entertainment we've had. I believe there's also been some Williams College grads that have been in the NFL draft. I remember.
I'm sure.
Within my time as an SID, I remember that happening. A Division III student athlete at Williams College getting a good look in the NFL draft.
There's definitely some players that have gone on to the NFL, played. Three that I played with that played in the NFL. One himself Super Bowl ring with the Washington Redskins. One of my friends, that was Teddy Rogers, and one of my friends, Ethan Brooks. He went on to play offensive line for the Baltimore Ravens. Brian Billett called him a human turnstile at tackle, which isn't a good thing.
That's not a good thing at all.
No.
Unless you're working the turnstiles and you're getting tickets coming through, that's a great thing.
Playing in the NFL for 9 years, you got a pretty good run. But there's always guys that make good money in the NFL and they make a heck of a living. I mean, there's more people. NFL holding that draft that were the number one pick. So I mean, tells you that anyone can make it, and it's always a possibility being out there.
Kevin, before we move on to our next guest, who is Sean Conran of our women's volleyball program, he's the team manager. He was also on the sidelines and on the field back on November 2 at Topa Field when one of your players, Ben Cortez, was inducted into the National Guard? Army ROTC, correct. Mm-hmm. Talk about the players that you've had that have gone through that experience.
Yeah, we've had a bunch come in. James Dawson, Ron Cruz, Ryan Farrell, Ben Cortez, a few, and each one of them came in, joined the ROTC because it was something they were interested in, and then they ended up getting a scholarship, for it. So, their year or 2 years for a couple of them. The approach was pretty nice to get scholarship, be going to school.
Yeah, they do.
Every one of those. And those guys got inducted, into the Army at halftime in one of our games, military appreciation games, and that's been awesome. And this year, actually, on Ben's induction, was able to come back.
Yeah, I saw Ron in some of the pictures.
Yeah, he was down in, I think he was in Louisiana, at a base down in Louisiana. I'm not sure if that's accurate or not, but he had the weekend off and he came back for what better way to end it? And then we were like, hey, we're going to be induct Ben, and he's like, I would be a part, and that all worked out. You have guys coming back, play football for that are in the military family now that are still taking care of one another, which is a great thing.
Well, thanks for joining us on this segment. It's good to have you back for fighting through the technical difficulties. The mustache is coming in a lot stronger there, Mr. Gilmartin.
Yeah, it's actually a good last dance. It gives that 1980
Sure does. You'll be the fill-in for the coach there.
The best.
All right. Good having you on the show. Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks.
That's Kevin Gilmartin, South Virginia University head football coach, joining us on Seahawk Talk on Thursday, April 30. We'll be right back after a short break with Sean Conran of South Virginia Women's Volleyball. Stay with us.
O'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
That's Sean Conran of South Virginia University Women's Volleyball, soon to be South Virginia Men's Volleyball. I'm not going to guarantee it, but someday soon. He's now joining us via WebEx, and we're showing him on the screen right now. He was inducted into the Army ROTC last November, along with Ben Cortez of our South Virginia football team. Welcome, Sean. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, Ed.
Good to have you on the show. we led off with the clip of National Anthem being sung by Vin Joyce. That was set up by Matt Finlayson, our marketing person in athletics. And at halftime, it's always wonderful when we have not only football players being inducted, but yourself as well. Join Ben on the field. You were there. Some of your family members got to be there as well. Talk about that experience. What led you in that direction, Sean?
I mean, yeah, the experience itself was just awesome. Kind of like being there in front of my family, the fans of the football team. Like, it was just awesome, especially being inducted by Ron Cruz, who played football himself and then graduated. And then alongside Ben Cortez, who's one of my good buddies, since I got to Salve. But kind of like the reason why I pretty much wanted to be an Army and got inducted was my whole thing is kind of like serving. I love to serve. I was on mission trips like all growing up, so I just loved serving, helping people. And I just really wanted to like do as much as I can, the best way I can. And the way I knew how to do that was the Army. So I did that. I'm shooting to branch in military intelligence so I can help, our boots on the grounds, do the best we can.
Now, we're showing some still photos that were taken of you on the field as well. It was a gorgeous day out there, Sean. And what was the first thing you had to do once you were a fully inducted member?
Right off the bat, you just get more responsibility. You take on tasks of responsibility of the underclassmen. As a junior, you're just in charge of a squad. As a junior, pretty much you're in charge of a squad or a platoon, depends. But yeah, right off the bat, had to start, taking responsibility of my other Salve cadets and Roger Williams and also URI, since we combine with them with the RTC program.
How many days a week? Is it an early start, a late finish? What's involved if somebody is watching this program and says, you know what, that could be for me as well? What are they looking at?
No, yeah, I mean, we're always encourage people to join, But pretty much first thing, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we got physical training in the morning at 6. So sounds a little early, but you get used to the schedule. It's really no big after a while. And then we have class Wednesdays at URI for about 2-hour class, and then after that, every other week we do labs Wednesdays. So we're in the fields, getting a little dirty, getting our hands dirty, using our brain, communicating. So it's honestly it's fun and challenging all around. That's for sure.
Now, you're a member of the class of 2021, so you'll be entering your senior year coming in the fall. When you arrived at Salve in the fall of 2017, you wanted to get involved in volleyball. At the time, there were no men's volleyball program, but you found a way to get involved in volleyball. Talk about that and your approach to Lauren Parsons, our head coach.
Yeah, so pretty much as soon as I got to Salve, well, even before I got to Salve, I know they didn't have a men's league, and that's after I already committed, but I knew I wanted to go to Salve, so I reached out to Lauren Parsons, the head coach at the time, and just really wanted to dive in, see if she had anything for me, and thankfully she did. And so here I am, rising senior. I'm still doing it. Yeah.
Now, what are some of the fun parts of being involved as a team manager for volleyball, and what are some of the drags of being involved as a team manager?
So definitely fun parts, practices, definitely 100%. I just love being with just having volleyball in my life. I love it so much. I played in high school, so it's just good to keep it going. And then probably a drag. I don't know. I hate to kind of like look at bad parts, but if I had to pick one, it's probably the long bus rides. You'd fall asleep, and then after like 2 or 3 hours later, you wake up all drowsy and just, where are we? Just that, are we there yet? Kind of epiphany. So yeah, I'd have to say definitely the car rides, but just the perks are just awesome. It's just a fun environment.
Yeah, they certainly outweigh the low points. And what we showed on screen while you were talking about the bus rides wasn't a drag at all. It was you in your Halloween outfit from the last team practice on October 31. As a team does a wonderful job of getting dressed up for the occasion for Halloween, and you were wearing a long-haired blonde wig.
Oh yeah. I'll give a shout out to Liv Noonan for that one. It it's freshman year. She dressed up as me, so I had to do it this year as her. So I was a nurse.
Oh,
Yeah.
well done, well done.
Yeah, it was definitely fun.
What have you been in previous Halloweens, your freshman and sophomore years?
So freshman year, I was a greaser. And then my sophomore year, I wasn't able to go because I had field training for ROTC.
There you go. Some things are more important, right?
Oh, yeah.
Now, with the addition of Lauren Parsons stepping down as head coach and Sebastian Nordzi coming in, you and he got excited about the potential of starting up men's volleyball. Talk about that.
Yeah. So, yeah, when Sebastian came along, that's when I was pretty much starting to get momentum in the volleyball club. And then I pretty much reached out to him and see if he would like to be the coach. And it kind of worked out that he said, yeah. So super stoked about that. I can't wait. I worked a lot with Matt and Jody to kind of help me get momentum with that. The athletic director and assistant director. So, I was pretty excited about that. It was kind of a long time coming. I kind of fought a while for that, but we're finally here, going into my senior year. I can't wait.
It's worth a fight. When will the season be, Sean?
So fall season will come around. Since we're just starting up, trying to get our bearings. We're probably not going to do a big preseason, but get some practices in there. And then springtime. Springtime's our season. Yeah.
So when the women's program has their non-traditional off-season work is when the men's program would say, it's our turn, step up. Talk about the differences between the men's game and the women's game, because I know at least one thing's going to be different, and that's the height of the net.
Yeah, that's pretty much the main thing. It's the height of the net. Because we need so that means we got to outsource different people. We need some. Guys and girls obviously need tall people up front. You need that height difference. Since we got to be able to get over that higher net. Where
does your game fit in as a player?
I'm a spiker. I'm a hitter.
All
yeah,
right.
I'm an outside hitter.
Are you allowed to say spiker? I thought volleyball players go for kills.
Yes. We always go for the kill. But since I'm an RTC rat, I have to say the kill.
And
I'm just joking.
Backyard volleyball players like myself, we can say spike. But
I haven't played a full game in a while, so got to get the cobwebs off.
Well, we're looking forward to you coming back and helping out again with our women's program, but also the traditions beginning with men's volleyball coming in 2020, 2021, and glad to have you on this program, and we look forward to seeing you on campus.
Yeah, thank you very much. Can't wait.
Take care, Sean.
All right, you too, Ed.
That's Sean Conran, Army ROTC, men's and women's volleyball, joining us on this segment of Seahawk Talk. I'm Ed Habashar, and we'll be right back with equestrian talk. To be a rider or not to be a rider, that's equestrian. We'll be right back right after this break. Kelsey Francis and members of her equestrian team producing a great TikTok feature. I overdubbed the Salve Virginia music on it, Hail Holy Queen. Right now we get to go to Portsmouth, Rhode Island, I believe, and somewhere near Sandy Point Stables. Hello, Coach. How are you?
Good. How are you? I'm at the stables.
You are at the stables. Day and night, right?
All the time.
Well, it's good to have you on this segment. I know when we texted briefly this morning, you said, hey, I may be able to join you on the show today because it's bad weather. And I said, great. Not that it's bad weather, but that we get to have you on the show.
Yeah.
You've produced some nice content for us. Obviously, I got to go to your show in March that you hosted at Sandy Point Stables. Talk about that day and what it was like preparing for it and all the stuff that goes on in hosting a show and the wonderful outcome that you guys had.
Okay. So when we're hosting a horse show, there's a lot that goes into it. First, you have to know how many people are actually entering the horse show. You don't know that until the week before. So that makes planning a little bit hard because you need to know that you have enough horses for a certain difficulty level. Like I described before in a different clip that I had given you, we have all different level riders. You can know absolutely nothing about horses or have been riding your entire life. So planning what type of horses we need on the day of the horse show is a big production. So when we only know the week before what we actually need, it makes the crunch time a little bit more stressful. So once all the entries close, then we have to figure out how many horses we need to do, what class. And then from there, we've got to plan all the tack and the equipment. We've got to make sure that we have 15 horses all with saddles on, ready to go. And we might only, between myself, and all of the riders, we might only have 10 saddles. So we've got to figure out how we've got to organize all of that and the switches and what the horses go best with. You can use training aids such as a crop and a spur, and you've got to be monitoring the horses on the day of the show because maybe somebody gets one horse specifically very excited using spurs. You've got to make sure that that doesn't happen for the next rider. If that means you've got to retrain the horse before someone else gets on it or any of that. So while we were hosting a horse show, we were also closely monitoring the horses because they're representing us and we want to make sure that everything is going well for everybody.
And you know your horses better than anybody else. Is there a sheet or some information on each horse with a description? Hey, this is this horse's temperament and this is this horse's personality?
Yes. So in the morning when all of the coaches come in, they get a packet, and there's a packet that describes every single horse down to a T, what your rider will need to know when they get on that horse, what it likes, what it doesn't like, what works for it, what doesn't work. All just suggestive from us. Myself and the captains all got together and kind of wrote these descriptions to the best that we know to give everybody an easier time.
Coach, last week you allowed us to break some news on our show by letting us know that you were naming a junior captain. Talk about what went into that process as far as naming Emmy Shore as a captain and having her join us on the show.
Okay. It was a really, really difficult decision. We have all of the sophomores that are on the team this year are all fantastic. They all have such a strong part that they do. So for me, making this decision, it was really hard, especially because our season was cut short. We only made it halfway through. And going into the second half of our season, I was really going to start watching them and, making suggestions on what they should do in order to step up. And obviously we didn't get that opportunity. So I had them all draft up to me a letter, why they think they would best suit as a captain and what attributes they bring to the team. And after reading all of their letters and kind of thinking of, what they did this year and the way that they act in certain situations, I chose Emmy just because I think that she will be a good asset and I think she can be a good leader. I don't know. It was really hard, and I know that it was hard for some of them, but that was my final choice. I think going forward, she will be a good leader.
And two of your juniors going into their senior year, Hannah Gray and Kenna Rooney, continue as captains as well?
Correct. Um, and all of my upcoming juniors, I'm going to have kind of working with them still because Hannah and Kenna put a lot of work into the Salve equestrian team. As a lot of people know, this is my first year. So while I'm really good with the horses, everything else that goes on at the school and the paperwork and all of that, I'm still learning all of that. And I'm still running a business kind of full time over here. So it's kind of tough to get all of it done. So my captains are really important for making sure that everything runs smoothly, as well as keeping all of the other riders organized and on top of the things that they need to do.
We know the challenges without a pandemic. Talk about how different it's now been during a pandemic.
We're pretty lucky. The horse world is kind of like living in a bubble.
Okay.
So our day is pretty much the same here. For our clients, it's kind of difficult. We have allowed the people who actually own a horse to come in because that's part of their family. So they are able to come in. However, I've had to create a rotating time schedule and limit the amount of time that people spend here. So in order to keep our number under the 10-person limit, we can only have 3 to 4 clients in here at a time, and they only get an hour and a half per horse, and we got to keep them moving. And so I've kind of had to be the bad guy and be like, it's time to go. You got to get out. Come on. Sorry, guys.
And that can also be the good guy, too, because you're thinking about their safety as well. Are there other restrictions, such as masks or anything like that?
For the employees and I, we're all very close-knit, so we kind of opted not doing masks. And then because we're outside and sort of far away from each other, we let it slide. Doing the masks was a little bit tricky. It's really hard to ride with a mask on. You're elevating your heart rate, and you're looking around, so they fall off, they move, they kind of block your peripheral vision, which I don't think is very safe on a horse because something might happen that might scare your horse, and if you need to look and see what that is and see how fast it's coming, it sort of just gets in the way.
And Hannah Gray recently earned an honor, something that I think she was as well honored 2 years ago as a freshman. Talk about that and what she put into getting that recognition.
I believe through the IHSA, it's just an online test, so it is, I think, like 100 questions or something, multiple choice, and it's just a test of your basic equine knowledge, what you do if your horse is sick, if they're lame, what kind of drugs you administer, if they're having X, Y, and Z problems, all of those sort of important terms that are taking care of the animal and just knowing the basic foundations of care.
That's really what it all evolves from. Is you as riders and instructors just have a deep love for that animal, the horse.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for
knowing that kind of knowledge, like, hey, maybe this horse is moving this way. They're athletes just like us. So you might have a horse that's a little sore on the left side versus the right side. And, it might go straight in one direction, and you find out every time you jump a jump, you'd call it shifting to the left or the right. Why is it shifting left or right in the air? How are you going to fix that? Is it rider error? Is it something going on with the horse that can be fixed through, like an injection? We do joint injections, kind of like what is that called? Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. People will get them in their back sometimes.
Oh, yes. An epidural?
No.
Okay.
No, not an epidural. Oh my goodness. It's like a
cortisone shot?
Cortisone, yes. It
Okay.
alleviates the fluid in the joints. That's what I'm thinking of. Not an epidural.
Well, for a different occasion.
But we'll do things like that if your horse is, moving one way versus the other, doing those kinds of injections that alleviate the pressure in the joints. They'll start to move more freely. They'll take a bigger step. They'll jump a better jump. all things like that. We want to make sure that the horses are happy and healthy so that we can practice and do our job and they can do their job the best that they can too.
Well, I'm glad you've been able to maintain your routine before and during this pandemic. I've tried to do the same, Chelsea, and I had meant to bring this up with our first guest, Kevin Gilmartin. We were having some audio difficulties, but with you we have a nice, great signal. So part of my routine is waking up each morning and talking to my Amazon Echo Dot, which is a voice assistant, and I say, Alexa, give me my flash briefing. And I hope I didn't trigger yours.
I was checking. No,
okay.
Didn't hear you.
And during that flash briefing, she gives me, or the device gives me, number 1, the word of the day. Number 2, this day in history. And then the third thing that I get is a dad joke. So I want to give you a dad joke that I heard this morning. And I wish it had to do with horses, but it has to do with whales. What do you call a bunch of whales playing musical instruments?
The Whalers.
Good guess. But orchestra is the word.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that's the dad joke of the day, and I'm glad to finish our conversation on that note, a funny joke. Thank you for joining us, Chelsea. You're looking good, and I'm glad you were able to continue with your routine in equestrian.
Yep. All right. Well, have a great day.
You too. That's Chelsea Francis, Salve Virginia University head equestrian coach. I'm Ed Habishaw, and we'll be joined by John Ingalls after a short break. Welcome back to Seahawk Talk on Thursday, April 30, the last day of April, and perhaps last day for getting boats out of the water. We'll check in and go straight out of Compton, Little Compton. Hello, John Ingalls. How are you?
I'm doing well. Straight out of Little Compton. You're correct, Ed. Good to see you as always.
Good to see you as well. You are in Little Compton, but you were talking about having to prepare for the off season with sailing and having the boats removed from where they currently are.
Yeah, so it's quite the task given that we're maintaining some social distancing. We have 2 fleets of boats. We have a fleet of 20 FJs, and we have a fleet of 18 Larks. as well as 3 motorboats, and they all need to be taken out of the water, which sounds fairly simple, but it really isn't. You have to remove the masts and the booms and get those all put away. And then that leaves the hulls, and the hulls are on the dock, and so they have to be floated over to the ramp and put on a dolly and then wheeled to the racks where we store them. Now, the racks are, there's a bottom rack, middle, and a top. So we have to pick these boats up, and the boats are, somewhere around 250, 300 pounds, and they're big. So, they're 16 feet long, and they're, 5 feet wide, 4.5 feet wide.
Yeah.
And so a really strong person that can pick up 300 pounds or so really can't do it because it's just too big. So we're using 5, 6 people to pick these things up over our head. The top rack's probably at 7 feet high. So a lot of work going on there. We were busy all day yesterday, and we have half of the first fleet put away. So the masts are all removed, and 10 of the boats are on the racks. So we have to finish up and then start on the fleet of Larks. And of course, we need to do that for our boats to put them away, but also Sail Newport. They have their summer season coming up, which is a community sailing program. So we need to be out of the way. Our boats are on the docks that they want to use. So quite a bit to do here in a short amount of time. And
Now,
I don't know, can we use 8 people to pick up a boat? I'm not sure that's allowable, with regard to the social distancing that's required. So,
well, how big did you say the boat was?
they're 15 feet, about 250 pounds, a little more than that, maybe.
Yeah, you could at least have 6 people out per boat.
Yes.
They'd be 6 feet apart around the entire hull, I believe. I'm just trying to do some math here.
Yeah, I'm not sure the math works out there. And then if you have somebody at the front of the boat on the port side, and you have somebody at the front of the boat on the starboard side, they're probably holding hands.
Yeah, they're close to each other. That's where it gets the closest and the diciest.
So it's a little tricky.
And I'm sure they'd rather be in the boat than lifting it out of the water.
Yeah. So, this is my opportunity to emphasize to all of the sailors how important physical conditioning is for sailing.
Not just on the water, but off the water.
Yeah, exactly. It's very, very important for on the water, but it sure comes in handy at times like these when we have to lift boats with minimal people. And sometimes there's a little bit of water in the tanks, and so the boats weigh even more than you might expect. So we try to drain that out. But yeah, it's very, very important to be in good shape as a sailor. A lot of people that think that sailing is a leisurely sport. And you might see some pictures of people sailing on these magnificent yachts, and they've got dress shirts on and pressed pants, and the good old days of the America's Cup and 50, 60 years ago. But it's actually just the opposite. Our sailors really need to be physically fit and strong, and we're always weight conscious as well. We start out in our boats trying to have a combined weight of somewhere around, maybe as light as 230 pounds between 2 people. So that's pretty small. And then when it's really windy, we'll get up to maybe a maximum of 300 pounds in a boat. So you can think of the different weight sizes of people and the weights associated with those sizes. But what is important is the strength. You don't want to be unfit. So whether you're small and light or bigger and heavier, regardless, you have to be strong. So we're hiking, we're using our quads and our core for hiking. Hiking is when you put your feet under a strap in the bottom of the boat and you put your body outside of the boat from maybe your knees, where your knees are, out over the water. That's all, from the knees up is out over the water. So it takes tremendous quad strength as well as core strength. And then, of course, you're driving the boat or trimming the sails. And when it's breezy, those sails have a lot of force on them, hundreds of pounds.
You beat me to the punchline, John.
Say again?
You beat me to the punchline. I was going to say, you're not just trimming the sails, you're trimming the sailors.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So,
well, I see you wearing the winter cap. Tell me about the weather in your area.
Oh my goodness, wasn't yesterday phenomenal? Let's focus on yesterday.
Okay.
That was fantastic. And of course, we got a lot of work done with the boats. Today it was a little rainy and it's quite cool outside, so I was freezing. Geez, I hope I'm not sick.
So with Sail Newport coming in after you guys clear out, what assurances do they have of having their competitive sailing programs being run during the current time?
Well, that's a great question, Ed, because there is no guarantee that they will. I think we're all thinking that we're starting to see a decline in the number of cases on a daily basis. And maybe we're over the hump, but I'm certainly not the medical expert there to determine whether we are or not. But Sail Newport is preparing for that situation where they say, hey, they can open the park up and open up Sail Newport. They need to be ready to have the public come in and be able to sail.
And they'll be able to stay a safe distance.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll get past that. I think their season really starts in June, mid-June. It really kicks off, big time July. So I'm hopeful that we'll be sailing. And not have to worry so much about the social distancing. But I guess time will tell. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm hopeful as well, John, and hopefully you'll be able to tear off that winter hat and put on some summer gear soon.
Yeah, well, I had it on yesterday. It was spectacular. So
excellent.
We'll see. Looks like the weekend might be pretty nice as well. I'm supposed to go out on the water and do a little sailing of my own.
Excellent.
So hopefully the weather will cooperate and we'll have a good time.
Last week, John, when I had Sebastian Nortzi on, he's our new women's volleyball head coach at Salve Regina. I didn't realize he has a connection to sailing through his dad. I'm not sure of his dad's first name, but he sounds like a competitive sailor. Have you heard of the last name Nordsey during your travels in the sailing world? Noordzy?
Well, I think I have. I don't know him personally. I've heard the name. But it sounds like a unique name, but it's not that unique in Europe. So,
true.
And I've been in Europe quite a bit sailing over there. So maybe our paths have crossed. I don't recall it.
Well, he's up north now. He's in the New England area now. So hopefully your paths will cross in preferably on the water.
Yeah, that'd be great. Actually, it'd be fun to have him come down and do some sailing with us at a practice. I used to play some volleyball,
There you go.
Anyway, it'd be great to have him come out and check out our fleet and go for a little sail with us. It's great to have friends out there that know how to sail.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us on Seahawk Talk here on Thursday, April 30th, John. You're looking good, and hopefully you'll be back on the water within days, if not seconds.
All right. Well, thanks again, Ed. All the best to you. Take care.
You too. Take care. That's John Ingalls, our head sailing coach at Salve Regina University. I'm Ed Habisher. We'll be back with more guests on Friday, May 1. That's tomorrow. Stay with us. Stay safe, stay home, and keep your distance.